Well, we'll be interrogating this matter, as well as the trader money allegation of using the trader money as vote buying. Critics said the distribution of 10,000 naira to prospective voters is not just coming during the campaigns, but also at venues of political rallies.
And also the issue of underage voting is still a disturbing phenomenon in Nigeria's electoral process. Has INEC done enough to deal with this particular problem, which became very obvious at the Kano council elections that held a couple of years ago?
We shall also be looking at concerns being raised about the health of the president, considering the many gaffes he made during the interview with Kadaria at the candidates, and of course during the campaign rallies in some of the states.
Well, we're going straight into a discussion. We told you earlier we have one of the spokespersons of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Engineer Buba Galadima. Welcome.
Hello.
Also with us is an economist who retired as the Deputy Director with the Central Bank of Nigeria. He is an APC chieftain, Bako Shettima. Good to have you here with us.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
May I ask you if you've been on the campaign trail of the president lately?
Yes, not directly. I belong to one of the support groups called Forward Bukhari, and we have been holding independent campaigns, not a parallel structure, but a supplementary one. We were in Lagos only last week. We were also in Benin. So yes, directly and indirectly have been on the campaign trail of Mr. President.
Have you been inundated on some of the, some of the concerns being raised by Nigerians concerning the state of health of the president, both physical and mental health of the president? And this is drawn from so many issues that happened when the president visited some of the states where he misrepresented candidates, and of course where he probably did not understand what the interviewer at the candidates was asking him.
Yes, I've not been inundated personally, but I've read commentaries on the media. But I think some of those comments are misplaced. In the first place, it is normal for somebody of his age to momentarily forget or mix up names. That is called senior moments. And if you look at the gait of Mr. President, if you look at his countenance, if you look at his composure, you realize that Mr. President has substantially overcome the ailment that he suffered from in 2017. Mind you, in 2017, he was in the hospital for the first time under 60 days, the second time under 90 days or thereabout. But since August 2017, Mr. President has not had any cause to go back to hospital bed, or not even a hospice. And he has been improving progressively from that moment on. So to say that he's not fit to rule is just in the realm of speculation.
Well, some persons would say it's not really speculation because we've seen what suggests that the president may not really be, absolutely in control of his environment in terms of the cognitive awareness expected from somebody. But you've said he's a man of close to 80 years, but that should be expected. But if you say that, would you also say that he would be in a position to handle the very complexities that governing a complex country like Nigeria requires?
Sure, he is in the position to govern Nigeria. But let me make a quick correction. I didn't say he is about 80. Actually, Mr. President celebrated his 75th birthday last December. So he's 75. And he's
76.
75 as of December. So it's just 1 month or so after 75 anniversary. So he has the cognitive ability to govern this country. And that is why somebody like me have remained faithful to the leadership quality of Mr. President. And that is why I've joined like minds to make sure Mr. President is re-elected. If you look at the political firmament of Nigeria today, you cannot see anybody who is compared to Mr. President in terms of integrity, in terms of the vision to take this country to the next level. So yes, he is fit to have a second term in office.
Engineer Buba Galadima, do you share his opinion, or do you also hold the opinion that some Nigerians hold that probably the president needs some rest at this time, health-wise?
Well, he has, Bako Shettima is one of those with whom we have been in trenches for a long time. And I'm shocked that you described him as being a very senior member of the central bank. I could have expected that if reward is what is to be given to anybody who has worked hard, you should have been made one of the deputy governors of central bank. And we have canvassed, personally, I have canvassed for that. But the harder you work, the more you are pushed away from reward in this government. Having said that, thank you very much that he has confirmed to us that at president's age, he must be suffering from some dementia. And this is not only coming from him. Yesterday, when I was at the channel's television in the night, the spokesman of the president, Festus Keyamo, had also alluded to this. It's not Buba Galadima that has said so, not even the PDP. These are president's own people, own man Friday, that are saying that the president at his age is not fit and is suffering from dementia, forgetfulness, and the nation had seen this.
Well, this is exact words and description of the president's state of health.
That's what they said. I didn't say so.
I'm asking if this were the exact description of Keyamo on the
Of course, you didn't
health.
see him on channels yesterday with me. Oh, you didn't see him. That's what he said.
That the president is suffering from dementia.
Of course. And I said, oh, this is coming from Keyamo, not Buba Galadima. And they are the president's men. And when I said that the people of Keyamo's standing who had come to eat when we have prepared the food, put on table, because they have no idea of what the president came through to this level. I am ashamed, personally, that I can present such a person in a committee of nations, for example, the UN or the African Union, as my president, and he will be behaving the way he behaved in that interview, not grasping one single word or question. Or later on, the last appearance of Mr. President with youth in the villa, where he was taking notes, and he took several notes of questions, and at the end of the day, even when he wrote, he said, oh, he has forgotten the questions that were asked, when the paper was very much in front of him. Whatever is the case, we are all humans. But why do they drag such an old man into the fray of Nigerian politics?
Mr. Shettima seems to be suggesting that the president still has a lot in terms of goodwill and integrity, and that supersedes whatever momentary memory losses he may be having.
What is integrity? If you steal and give me to keep, what's my status between me and you? Or if I'm surrounded by all of you who are thieves, what about me? Or if I condone thieves that steal, and everybody knows that they have stolen, what am I? Or if I use public money to buy thieves to come and assist me win election, what do you call me? So please, the issue of security, integrity, should be put aside. Let's talk about governance. What is it that they have put on the table in the last 3.5 years? Of course, Bako Shettima comes from Niger. The president was at Baro to commission a 419 dry port, 4 warehouses that were constructed. I have 4 warehouses on my farm, and they said they commissioned a dry port. Can you tell me or show me any place where one small boat berthed at Baro? They have spoken, they have told the world that they have dredged River Niger. Which ship that has arrived either Baro or Lokoja? They have told us that they are building a power plant in Mambila. In fact, I'm holding the president responsible for scaling the power plant capacity from 6,800 megawatts to 2,800 megawatts. And as I speak to you now, even compensation had not been paid to the owners of the land. So there is no even site for that powerhouse. The president have group started Abuja, Kaduna, Kano road. As I speak to you now, 10 kilometers of that road has not been constructed. And the Julius Baja that is doing that work has not been paid for now, thanks to the Prime Minister of Nigeria, the Minister of Works, Power and Housing. So these kind of things, integrity, please, nobody in APC has integrity at all.
But when you're talking about projects, you know, projects doesn't conclude in just a short time. It takes a while for a project to conclude.
The president went to the National Assembly. Please. The president went to the National Assembly and enumerated these things that I have said as part of his achievement.
But did he mention that they are all completed projects?
What do you mean by achievement?
If he has instituted these projects, and
I have a large view for a utopian Nigeria. That does not mean that Nigeria is utopia or it is Uhuru democratically. All my life I've been fighting to establish democracy, one man, one vote. Have I reached there?
All right.
Bako, beyond the concerns over the memory loss of the president, are also questions about his integrity, just as raised by Galadima, that integrity needs to be questioned, considering the fact that most of the projects the president claim has been completed are still either not completed or have not been developed at all.
Thank you very much. Before I respond to that, I want to make some quick response to some of the personal issues Mr. Galadima raised here. Yes, it's true that I have a retired senior staff of Central Bank, but I'm never in politics for immediate material gain. I'm in politics to serve the people and to attract development to my place. If appointment is what I'm hankering for in politics, I will have persistently knocked at the door of the Mr. President, but that is not the background of Mr. Bako Shettima. Thank you. On the issue of dementia, which Alhaji Galadima claimed Keyamo referred to yesterday, unfortunately, incidentally, I saw the program midway, and I saw that aspect of the question. I don't think Mr. Keyamo used that word dementia. Only, in fact, Mr. Keyamo gave it back to Alhaji Galadima that if Alhaji Galadima could forget that, or could infer that he was a member of PDP when he was never a member of PDP, that was a momentary loss of memory by Alhaji Galadima. So, Mr. President, as his age, should be excuse occasional momentary loss. That was the argument yesterday. And finally, yes, Barrow Port was commissioned when Mr. President visited Niger State a couple of weeks ago. But like I said, I'm not directly in the entourage of Mr. President. I only waited at the campaign rally, so I wasn't in a position to determine the number of warehouses, whether there was any berth of a ship or barges that were commissioned.
Well, that's your state.
But it is a continuous. Government is a continuum anyway. If the dredging had been started since Yar'Adua's time and is not yet completed, Jonathan did his own, and Mr. President is adding to it. Government is a continuum. So Mr. President should rather be applauded for continuing the program he inherited. And on the issue of integrity, this is relative. Like I said earlier, if it is a matter of integrity, Mr. President cannot be compared to anybody. He's head and shoulder above all his political peers.
How do you mean integrity is relative?
Yeah, it's relative because Mr. Buba referred to the fact that he is surrounded by people who are adjudged to be less than honest in their dealings with the public. But again, the presidency has always challenged those who are making those accusations to come up with unassailable facts before any prosecution can be handled. Nobody has come forward with any unassailable facts.
Mr. Shettima, let me come forward with one for you now. I don't know what your response would be. The president was in Kano for his presidential rally last week. And at the shock of most people who were watching, and knowing the president to be a man of integrity, like you were saying, he raised the man, the hand of a man in that state who publicly, a lot of people saw the video of him receiving bribes, which the president himself has acknowledged in the past. He endorsed the person openly in the full glare of the world that this is a man to lead you. And this is the same man that has promised the president about 5 million votes in Kano.
Yes.
Would a man who is known or reputed to be a man of integrity have any dealings with somebody who is also publicly known to have received bribes?
Do you want to hang the governor of Kano State on the basis of circumstantial evidence? Has he been convicted of any crime?
Has the Chief Justice of Nigeria been convicted of any crime?
Excuse me, what is the outcome of the investigation by the State House of Assembly? Nothing has been concluded. So
it's interesting you're making these arguments. Nothing has been concluded. You heard what the president said.
Let me land.
I'm just leading you to where you're supposed to land.
No.
This is part of the entire context of what we are talking about. Does the president have different standards of integrity when it comes to certain persons?
Certainly no. He doesn't have. But what I'm saying is that the governor of Kano State has not been convicted of any crime. If there are circumstantial evidences, the videos, it could be photoshopped. The video that you are referring to, it could be photoshopped, until you can prove conclusively that they are real. That is when you can say impeachment proceedings, in the case of Mr. Governor, will have commenced. In the case of Mr. Governor, cannot be compared to that of Onogen. While the governor has immunity, the CJN does not have immunity.
But are there circumstantial evidence around the CJN?
Sorry?
Are there circumstantial evidence around the CJN?
Yeah, there are circumstantial evidence around the CJN, but in his own case, he has confessed to forgetfulness, to committing the crime on the basis of forgetfulness. Is forgetfulness an excuse in canon law? It is not.
Bako, we've seen situations where, bank accounts of states were frozen by the EFCC based on allegations as well. Yeah. We saw that happen in Akwa Ibom State. We saw that happen in Benue State. And so when you compare to what happened in Kano State, where there were video clips of the governor collecting, bribe.
You're talking about bank account of state
and we're seeing a situation where a president is raising the hand of a governor.
Yes.
I mean, he's to pretend over his state.
The governor was duly elected through primary to be the candidate of the party.
Okay,
Mr. President, in that circumstances, has little or no choice when he comes for campaign to do for the governor in Kano what he does for all the governors all over the place.
Okay, let's have.
If the governor had been convicted, he would have been out of office.
I think I have to help you in this direction.
Go
ahead. It is true that they pick and choose, and only their enemies or their opponents, so to say, could be guilty of any offense. Around the president, very near to the president, the person that should be closest to him is the national chairman of the APC, who on oath have been accused of monumental corruption, and somebody swore an affidavit in court. If the president has any integrity, would he ever stand shoulder to shoulder with such a corrupt man that everybody in Nigeria knew built the biggest palace in the whole of Africa? Where did he get the money from?
Is there a petition on that?
Of course. Not only a petition, somebody swore an affidavit. And the chairman of their party was arrested by DSS, their own very institution, for monumental corruption and taking bribes from candidates. That is on record. But having said this, I think you are belittling yourself. He wouldn't know, because it's not that close to know. Adams Oshumale himself, on a podium, told the world that whatever offense you commit, once you come to the APC to help Bukhari become president, your sins have been forgotten. So they have gone to another level of being God. Adams Oshimole has said so, and he's the chairman of the party. Has he been rebuked by Mr. Integrity of saying that, look, you are not God, how can you forgive anybody? And of all the people that have been jailed, they are members of which party? And we know as a fact that anybody that has joined the APC in Nigeria today, is either somebody who has got corruption cases or of questionable character, or somebody who has been bought like a ram in the market.
But some members of the APC are also under investigation, because we do know that the Executive Order number 6, recently we saw some names of some senior members of the APC.
Baba Chir. Is that what you are saying?
All right.
You know that he's going, when he moves, he moves with a column of jeeps. I mean, what do you, he looks pickups full of soldiers and policemen. Every time he moves, at least 5 Hilux, this thing. And who gave him that? Who has the authority to give him those Hilux security men? It's either the president or some of his agents.
Unfortunately, we cannot verify that. We cannot verify that claim.
But
then he's now
Mr.
the campaign manager.
We'll come back to this issue.
So they have no integrity. None of them has any integrity in that party.
Okay.
Mr. Buba Galadima, just a moment. We'll come back to this discussion. We have to take our social media segment now. Kakaki Social, Ohima is standing by for us. Hello, Ohima.
Good morning.
Hello, Tive. Hello, Sally. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome to Kakaki Social. I am Ohima Amaiza, your anchor on this segment. On this segment of the show, we spot